Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good weekend. You are listening to Colney Talk Podcast, a bite-sized show. I'm your host, Alex. First-time guests, thank you and welcome. And to my returning listeners, always good to have you back. On the show, I talk a little bit about Arsenal game and pick out my top 3 Arsenal players who I think were great in the game, and one player I consider the other guy who just had a poor game or just not good enough. We are back from international break, and depending on how your team is dealing with injuries, bad form, or series of bad results, it could be a much-needed break. So, for Arsenal's case, it was a fair welcome for some of our injured players. Leeds visited the Emirates, and it was a very refreshing welcome to see Jesus on the starting lineup. Interesting to see Trossard on the right, replacing Saka on the bench. He definitely needs that break. I know we often hear about Trossard being able to play on the left, in the middle, and on the right. So seeing him start on the right was the first time outing for him, and it was good. From the kickoff, first shot on goal from Leeds, reminiscent of Bournemouth, to catch us off on our slow-footedness. I mean, it gets things really nervy for most fans like myself. But we also tried to strike back, but it was just a second too late to shoot by Martinelli. You know how that goes. Really, coming into this game, I had a certain expectation from the team to start off strong and dominant in the first half. But in reality, Leeds just didn't allow that for Arsenal. I think they played the back five when they were out of possession and really had some of their low blocks. It took us a bit to settle in the game, and our first best chance came from a header by Jesus, which is really good. Good link-up play to cause confusion in Leeds' box. And then Leeds also had their moments. I mean, they had a few series of them when they got a break on the ball and looked really threatening. Twice I can recall shots saved by Ramsdale. He definitely had his focus on to keep this clean sheet. Leeds looked like they would strike first in the goal sheet, really. Arsenal's free-flowing passes weren't happening on the right side. It looked like they weren't much understanding with each other, especially at the edge of the final third. Maybe this is just as a result of seeing Trossard starting on the right, but I think it might not be the only reason, because he rotates in and around that edges in the box. But that could be one of those factors. And that added to our slow rhythm and tempo in our attack. Then another shot on target from Leeds. I mean, Somerville, he was causing problems on the back really quick. His quick movements and his ability to cleanly cut through our back line, it definitely caused us some problems. His agility had us exposed without a doubt. It showed how not as quick as our other defenders are, without a doubt. And Arsenal was yet to impose a series of attack in the end. Then we got a lift with our penalty. Big goal for Jesus. He much needed, confidence boost for him. And when it looked like everything was not going as expected, we got another good chance. I mean, that goal lifted the spirits of the crowd, got the fans really, going. Then the game started opening up. We had another chance by Martinelli, and that was another encouragement to push down on our attacking pedal. We stayed in on the ball, better movements, managed that until the whistle for the first half. And then onto the second, out the blocks, we just found our second goal. A fine finish by Ben White, by the way. A good cross by Martinelli where Ben White found his chance. I just love to see our other fine players get on the score sheet. Ben White, he was really alert, and he signaled for that cross to come in, and he finished it off like a really strong shot in the corner. This got us into a better position in the game with 2-0, and it certainly opened up, our attacking even much more, and we started finding open spaces and creating chances to score, and that came in the third goal. This was one impressive, brilliant, incisive pass to a perfect shot in the net by Jesus. I mean, really remarkable ball connection with Trossard and Jesus. I mean, it was so razor thin tightness in that sequence of play that Jesus perfectly positioned himself to score, that even VAR had to get in to make sure that it was right. And, it really was. So that really was a very good goal, especially that combination of Trossard and Jesus and having to create some good timing And having that open goal, like this really creates that confidence that we've been looking for, or we know that it's going to help us carry on to our next games. And Arsenal, we stayed on the front foot with a few more serial chances. It looked like we got right into our combination to deal with Leeds positioning on their loaded defending. More importantly, Arsenal kept working really hard to break down the visitors' defense. You could see the passes flowing much smoother than the first half. So it wasn't just our dominance in possession. We were really working to make sure we retained the ball. When we lost it, we were reset right in the final third to keep getting things going to create more chances. I was really hoping for a clean sheet at this point, but then Leeds managed a couple of attacking chances. Ramsdale had a good saves here. I mean, intelligent reaction from him in the way he positioned himself to really block out some of the goal chances that really would have gone in. We carried on to then dictate the game after Saka and Jorginho came in for Jesus and Partey from the substitution. And the stadium really was vibrant all up until the point where we lost our clean sheet. I mean, it was a deflection from Zinchenko. Nothing you can do about that. But I don't think we were really alive defensively considering that goal. I mean, we could have done more and could have been a little bit more in tune on that open play. I was just as disappointed, like Ramsdale was, but it is what it is. Then we had a really good highlight worthy of a fourth goal by Xhaka, made possible by Odegaard's supervision and perfectly weighted cross into the box. It was just unbelievably good. We had a very good response of a goal to put back the confirmation victory in the game. And it was also good to give a few players on the bench a chance to get some minutes and help close out the game. So overall, that was how we managed to get that victory and, good positives for the most part. So now up to my top three players. First guy, Trossard, so lively in the game. He was really playing out of his natural position, either on the left or central, like I mentioned. But on the right, most of the first half, what he did was contributing off the ball, tracking back, intercepting in very dangerous areas, even when we were defending our box. And that tells you that he has more than the attacking quality. He's very alert. He has this awareness in giving him a really good all-around game when he's on the pitch. Then more of his brilliance showed up in that connection with Jesus. That was just a highlight reel confirmed. Like, I watched that over and over again, and that was just so immaculate. I mean, the pinpoint passes was just wonderful. What a player. And it's going to be very, very hard to keep him off the starting lineup. And such a tough game for him today. Second player, Captain Odegaard. He did his usual interlinking passes to our front players. I like how he protected the ball, then presented it to Jesus for that penalty. That's, captain quality and very good thinking on his part. He just continues to impress. I mean, there isn't much more that you can expect, but just good things out of him. His vision to connect with Xhaka on that fourth goal was truly world class. What a nice way to bow out for the game, without assist on goal. Although a choice sometimes between making a final pass or taking a commanding shot often clouds his decision in the box. I mean, it often happens when he's in that very tight situations, but I'm sure it comes down to the situation as well, which he oftentimes makes the right one anyway. But I'm referring to the chance in the box where he could have either, shot it or pass, which he did to Martinelli, but then that window had closed out. So, and then my third and final player, Gabriel Jesus. Chaos for the defenders, good control in helping build our attack. He really was the instigator to changing the temperature of our attack and gauge. I mean, for the first half, as you can recall, nothing was really going our way until we got that penalty, which was all him, and got things going. And his second goal for him was really massive going into our big game, and there's a big question following that. Overall, I liked Gabriel Jesus' energy and how much he contributed to opening up the game to get the 3 points. Well done to our number 9. And again, there wasn't a deserving other player today. Yes, we were a bit shaky in the back in the first half. Just things weren't really going as we wanted. The overall gameplay wasn't up to our standards, but eventually we got that corrected and got things going in the direction that we wanted. So we go away just disappointed not having the clean sheet. And all that is the minimal issues that we can just, go back and work on and think about. But it really comes down to keeping up on that level of our defensive awareness and intensity, because now we're going to need it much more than ever. And with that, I'll leave it here for now, folks. Trossard, Odegaard, Jesus make my top 3, and none for the other player today. Another great Arsenal win. Now we climb another mighty hurdle into our next game, and I wonder who our attacking lineup will be come next game. Until then, enjoy the win, folks. I'll talk to you later. Take care, and bye-bye.